Hey, how y'all doing? It's Sharonda, and hey, how y'all doing? And today, per usual, most always, I'm here to talk some books. So let's get into this thing, shall we? Okay, so today I'm going to be doing things a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a reading blog, and I will be discussing while I'm reading Neon Gods by Katee Roberts. Okay, so yes, I'm late to the party. This book was released back in child 2021, and yeah, I'm just on it. So if you have seen my previous videos, it has been sitting on my shelf. But I particularly got this book because I am a huge fan of Hades and Persephone's retellings. I love when authors do them. I love when they do it perfect. I love when they make Hades the more, you know, sympathetic character, in these stories, because most of the times with a lot of Greek retellings, Hades is like the bad guy, you know what I mean? So, and I'm always going to shout out RM Virtues for giving me a Hades character that I just, yes, okay. But right now I am at chapter 4, I believe, and we're at the point where Hades and Persephone have just met. In this particular retelling, he is kind of like he's still perceived as the bad guy. He kind of like keeps himself in the city that he runs, in the shadows, in the secrets or whatever. And like he's like in the lower city, and then Zeus and the other gods are in the top city or whatever. And of course, everybody looks down on Hades and who's ever in Hades' world or whatever. And right now, I'm at the point where Persephone's mother, who want shit, because I'm like, lady, you really sold your daughter out, like you really sold your kid out to be like you're already one of the 13. So it's like you're really gonna sell your own daughter out to for like a little extra smidgen of power. But anyway, so in this particular retelling, which I'm quite sure folks have read already, um, but just know what's in this vlog, it will probably be me doing some spoilers or whatever. So now, so far so good. I'm liking the story. Generally with Katee Roberts, I will not lie to y'all, she is a huge miss for me. Um, um, I be, I be fighting myself to finish her books. I think I only finished like one book of hers. I mean, I finished them, but it was like a struggle. But it was only one book that I finished and actually enjoyed, and it was like, I think it's like a vampire series that she has, and I never finished it. I read the first book because it was in KU, and it was good, but like I said, I never finished the goddamn series. And I'm more than likely, I don't know. I don't know. I will see how Hades and Persephone's do, and maybe I'll go on to the other books. But the way me and my budget set up, child, this might be the only book I'll be reading in this series. Okay, but right now I like where she's going with this story. I like what she's doing with this retelling. So I'm liking it. And I hope I continue to like it. Right now, like I said, I'm only on chapter 4, and generally, if you lose me by chapter 2 or 3, I'm out. So I'm gonna stick through it. I'm gonna continue with this reading blog. Okay, another quick update. I I'm at chapter 17. I'm still liking the story. I do feel like the needle hasn't moved much as far as plot wise. With her running away from Zeus after her mother, after her and him and the mother announced the engagement. Her running and ending up in the lower the lower city, the lower part of Olympus. So I still feel like the needle hasn't moved much, like far as plot wise in that aspect of the story. But I do like that we're getting some type of building of a relationship. Like we're building something between Persephone and Hades, and they're both starting to trust each other a little bit more. I feel like they're still not fully there, but they're starting to trust each other a little bit more. So we'll see where we go from. All right, y'all. It is the next day, and I have found myself at the Barnes and Noble. So I'm gonna go inside and do a little bit of shopping. Yes, I took a break from reading. Still am enjoying the book, but yeah. And then I had to go help my sister out because she needed a jump. But here we are. But I just wanted to come on here and show you guys what I actually got from the Barnes and Noble. So I bought number 6 in Happy Marriage. These are the light novels. I feel like they're more like books. So I will get mangas like if I really want to read them. But since they have these in a light novel, I actually got it. So I have the first 5, and then I had to add this one. So I got that. Then I got again another tarot deck. This one is This Might Hurt by Isabella. Is that Rotman? Yeah, Isabella Rotman. So this is a nice, like I've been seeing this deck all like over the place, and as far as like tarot folks that I follow, and I wanted to get it, and I just never had the opportunity to. And then it's like I always forget that Barnes and Noble. Oh, check this out! Opens up from the bottom. That's like the inside of it. I tend to forget sometimes that Barnes and Noble actually sells tarot decks, which is I worked there for like 20 plus years. I should know this, and I've been inside their stores. So this is like the inside of the box. I love that it opens up like this. This is a great little thing to carry the cards in. And then you have another like box here. This is actually what it looks like on all sides. Oh, this is cute. Oh my god, I like this a lot. All right. And then these are okay, so this is just inside of So these are the cards. This is the back of one of the cards, which is pretty much the back of all the cards, and that is, of course, is the Fool Tarot. And of course, we have the book that always comes with tarot decks, the little book or whatever. And that is the inside of this. This is cute. Like I like this. Like okay, all right. I like this. That's pretty dang on nice. That's a nice ass tarot deck. I gotta say. I just like the presentation of it. Like I'll do a full unboxing video at some point, but this is pretty damn nice. I like this. Okay. with the mass market, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. And then of course I got another I had one of these before. It's a bookmark. It's one of those chain bookmarks. I don't know what I did with it. I when I was at Barnes and Noble like full time, I used to just be going in there and buying shit because of my employee discount. Oh, you gotta cut this. Um, and that's what I used to do. So, but since I haven't been working there, and like I worked at the Barnes and Noble in New York in the city, and then it was like before they closed one of them, it was one exactly across the street from the corporate office. And then it was one like down the street, but the one from the corporate office they closed. It was more like they textbooks because you know Barnes and Noble sells textbooks and stuff. It was more their college bookstore, but it was like so it was smaller. And then they had like the bigger Barnes and Noble down the street across from I forgot what the name of that park is. It's one of those popular parks that be over there. It's the Barnes and Noble over there by Fifth Avenue. But I used to go in there all the time when on my lunch break and whatever. So, and then family members, can you get? So I would stop and get books for family members and friends and stuff. But this is the actual the keychain bookmark, which I just love these things. They're so cute. It's a foul plant, and this is like a purple. I know you can't really see it on here, but it's like a purple. So I ended up getting this as well. And okay, I like my little haul. And then since I was at Barnes and Noble for like 20 plus years, when you leave or if you were like myself and got furloughed and then eventually laid off during COVID, because I feel like I would probably still be at that mother freaker um, if they hadn't laid me off during COVID. Um, when you leave, when they let you go, whatever, or not even that, but if you're there a certain amount of years, you get a lifetime membership, and that's what I always use when I tend to go there. And there's not one too far from me here. Here in Jersey, the Barnes and Nobles are like they're like super far away. So I lucked up and I ended up moving next to a Barnes and Noble that was near me. But we're going to go ahead and we are going to get into my final thoughts on Neon Gods by Katee Roberts. Okay, so I bought this a while back. I said I was going to read it. And, I always say I'm a big fan of Hades and Persephone retellings. And that is the reason why I picked this book up. Like I said in the beginning, I'm generally not a big fan. She's with Katee Roberts. She's generally like a hit or miss for me. Most of the time, a miss. But for this particular book, I did like it. I ended up liking it. Again, I do feel like as the story moved on between Hades and Persephone, I felt like she was kind of like moving away from the plot of the story, which was in her particular retelling, the gods, they are born into these roles, right? So like I said before, the Zeus that's here, he's been in his role for a long time, old pervert, old creepy pervert, and but he's still like the man hungry, power hungry Zeus or whatever. But like if he died, then his oldest son would take on that position of Zeus. Same thing if Hades was to produce a child. The Hades in this book, he went into that role as a child because his parents were murdered. So it's like that in this particular retelling, and I kind of like that. Okay, there are no god powers or anything. There's no magic in this book. These are just regular old, Joe Schmo people. Okay, if somebody shoot their ass, they gonna be dead. Okay, ain't no coming back. So I like that. In this particular book, Persephone is she wasn't born into a Persephone role. She's of course the daughter of Demeter, but her mother, when the previous Demeter passed on, then her mother took that role, and her mother, who is kind of like hungry for power, which most of the gods are. um she kept up with that theme in the book. um she's kind of like using her daughters as a power play to move, to move within these rankings of these gods within this these retellings that Miss Roberts has done. So like I said, I do feel like she kind of like moved away from the plot when uh Persephone ran away from Zeus when her mother and Zeus announced this goddamn engagement. She's the fuck going on here? I'm not doing that. So she runs, and then there's the upper part of Olympus and the lower part of Olympus, which Hades run, and it's kind of like he's kind of like rumored to like for some people he don't exist. Of course, the guys know he exists, but he doesn't exist. He's like this boogeyman. The general Hades, kind of like the usual lore that goes on around Hades. So, but the people, it's kind of like, that south side, that kind of like good part of the neighborhood, bad part of the neighborhood thing going on inside of this book. Okay. So, what happens that night, she runs off and she runs over to Hades part of Olympus. And with the people that live in the upper part of Olympus, it's kind of like nobody goes down in the lower part. They have this treaty, unless you get ran off from like the upper part, you end up in the lower part or whatever. Hades had no problem taking people from the upper part if they were like on a run or some shit happened. They got in trouble with some of the, one of the other gods, all this other shit. So he's just like, fine, whatever, y'all come over here. I don't got no goddamn problems, okay? But it's kind of like they had this treaty. So Hades was never allowed to go over to the upper part, and none of the other gods, all the other gods were in the upper part. They were not supposed to be down in the lower part, because if that happened, they would break this treaty that they had and war would start. So this whole thing pops off when Persephone runs off to the lower part, and her and Hades kind of like start, not kind of like, but they start this relationship. And it's kind of like a mutual agreement that they're going to fuck with Zeus and fuck with her mother, because it's like because of this immense hatred that Zeus has for Hades or whatever. It's like if they could pull off that she ran off, well, she did ran there on her own accord because Zeus people was chasing behind her or whatever. But it's like if they can just like prove that she's there on her own accord, and she's fucking around with Hades on her own accord, then it's like Zeus ain't gonna want her. But Zeus is a petty motherfucker, so it really don't bother him. It bothers him, but it don't bother him that much because he's an old creepy old bastard. He wants Persephone anyway, okay? So, like I said, I do feel like we kind of like moved away from that kind of like core plot when we started getting like more of a relationship building, more of kind of like, what was going on between Hades and Persephone, which I did not mind, but I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like she should have just kind of like, we could have been doing two things at one time, okay? Because while her and Hades is down here, doing the do and fucking with these two, like what was going on with Demeter and what was going on with Hades. I'm sorry, with Zeus. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have liked to see more of that, but I do appreciate the fact that she gave us what this is, right? A romance that is developing between Hades and Persephone, right? Like that's what that's what I'm there for, right? So I do appreciate the fact that she gave us that. I 100% appreciate the fact that she gave like a relationship building between these two, like how these two came to trust each other a little bit more. Like they're not saying like I love you or whatever, because at the end of this all, Hades is not going to keep Persephone. It's like this deal they have. We're gonna fuck with your mom, we're gonna fuck with Zeus, and then when you come into your what it is shit they call them, them goddamn them kids, they ain't gotta work. They get shit from their parents and their grandparents. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, when you come into that money, you are, you can leave Olympus. No harm, no foul. We did what we did. We just gonna go ahead and do this, and that's what we have. So I like that, and you see kind of like this building trust, this trust of Jesus Christ. This building of trust between them. They're starting to like each other more. They're starting to fall for each other more. I loved Hades. I like both Hades actually and Persephone, because sometimes with the Persephone retellings, I'm like, bitch, get your life right, because you wilding. But but I actually liked both of them inside of the story. I love that Hades was kind of like this neat freak, and he ain't want nobody fucking with his floors. He's like, you ain't eating, your ass need to eat. You can use a sandwich or two, girl. You can use a sandwich or two. You know what I'm saying? Like, I liked how he took care of her and made sure that she was okay. She was, even though she wasn't the older sister and she was not the baby sister, she was the second daughter. She tended to be more concerned about, her sisters, because like I said, her mother was doing power plays, and her mother did not have any problems using her daughters to, to move within those God ranks. So it was crazy. So at the end of it all, I really did enjoy this book. I liked it. Like I said, I had my issues. I think we moved away from the plot a little bit, what's in the story itself. But again, like I said, we're here for a Hades and Persephone retelling. We're here to see these two fall in love. We're here to see them, fucking, you know what I'm saying? So she gave me that, and you know what? I'm happy with that. I'm not mad. This was a pretty damn good book. Oh, also, I feel like her mother didn't get the right. Like, I feel like her mom got off easily. Like, you literally sold your daughter for power. And it was just like, oh, well, I had a backup plan. It was like, what? I don't know. I just feel like she made it where Persephone forgave the mother, like, too fast, too easily. Because I would have been like, I'm not speaking to your ass for a long ass time. Because, what? He wasn't going to hurt you. I had a black backup plan. Okay. But yeah. I felt like the mom got off too easy. I felt like Demeter got off too easy when it came to, by the end of this book. I was just like, nah, she needed to, hell no. But shout out to her for giving us, a different rainbow of people within this book. And also with Persephone and her sisters, like, her mom was just like, I just want power, so anybody can get this, you know what I'm saying? So, shout out to you, Miss Roberts. Shout out to you. Okay, that is it for me. That is my first vlog. Will I have more here? I don't know. We just here. But thank you so much for watching, and until the next one, later days. Bye.